After the hotly contested presidential election in Mozambique, President Daniel Chapo and opposition leader Venancio Mondlane agreed to put their political differences aside for the sake of Mozambique. I had a sit-down with the Foreign Affairs Minister of Mozambique, Maria Manuela Lucas, to discuss on the future of Mozambique when it comes to security, politics and employment of the young people. You're watching TRT One-on-One. I am Brenda Radido. Maria Manuel Lucas, Foreign Affairs Minister of Mozambique, thank you for talking to TRT One-on-One.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the honor.
You're welcome. What is the diplomatic relations between Turkey and Mozambique like?
Yeah, let me first start by thanking the Turkey government for inviting us for this Antalya Diplomacy Forum. A great platform for all of us. The world is here. And we had a chance and the opportunity to speak about ourselves, the continent, but the world also. The cooperation between Turkey and Mozambique, it has started in 1981. I remember that we had independence in 1975, so it's real, it's after independence. And then they opened the embassy, in 2011, and they had also a honor to receive the President Erdogan in Mozambique in 2017. So now we have to prepare ourselves for our head of state that is new. It's President Daniel Cabo to come to visit Turkey.
All right. Yeah. And areas of cooperation, what are the areas of cooperation between the two countries and the trade volume like?
Yeah, there are many of them. There are many of them. And most of them, they really touch the development of Mozambique, but also the society, the people of Mozambique. We'll talk about education. Normally they give us a scholarship to train our people, but we'll talk also about the agriculture, the trades. We're talking about the construction areas. We're talking about the mines. They're there, but we still have to work a little bit more. But we're having them also for helping us with the security issues, supporting our defense force.
Mm-hmm. And it's important that you're talking about, you've mentioned about the private-public partnership that Mozambique has, also with the international community like Turkey. Mm-hmm. But within the African continent, there is the discussion about the Agenda 2063 that will require all African countries to play a role in achieving it. Yeah. So the question would be, what role has Mozambique played in achieving the Agenda 2063?
For us, Mozambique and I think the continent, African Union is our organization. Although most of us were organized by regional blocks, Mozambique, we are only part of SADC. And then we have the Agenda 2063 of the African Union. That is our agenda, So what Mozambique is doing to implement the agenda, we are definitely, there's a lot of dimensions. You have the social dimension, you have the political, you have the economic, The social dimension, I'm talking about our people, the youth, That we're trying to see if we can educate them, we can train them. We're talking about the professional, technical and vocational training so that we can create jobs for our youth. But also we're talking about the women, give them platform, the women also, to compete with the men in equal footing. They also will come back for the education. Other issue is the political, to build instability. Stability for Mozambique and the continent.
In fact, when you're talking about the stability for Mozambique, the political stability, the current political situation in Mozambique, how do you envision the country coming together after this hotly contested election that led to protest and deaths and displacement of Mozambicans?
So what is doing now the president is he has sat down with the opposition political parties. They build up understanding. That understanding was taken to the parliament. It became a law for dialogue. It's called the National Inclusive Dialogue, that all the stakeholders and nationally, they have to talk in 2 years and they will come back after 2 years.
All right. Yeah. But when we look at the sort of political election that happened in Mozambique, there was an argument that the voting patterns was divided into two. More of the liberation, the people who understand, the older generation who understand where Mozambique came from, to the young generation who are looking for jobs, development, economic empowerment in their country. For them, the voting pattern was not on liberation of Mozambique.
I think so we're supposed to be one. We're supposed to be one, but I understand your question, because definitely we have many youth that they voted in this election of 9 October 2024, that they were born after independence, okay? So for them, what they need now is really what you're saying, jobs. They need jobs, they need their condition to be fine, okay? So, but we don't have to forget where we're coming from. We have to know where we're coming from. We fought for our independence. It was 10 years that our freedom fighters, they fought for our independence. They brought a political independence. So now the challenge of all of us is to bring economic independence. So it is a challenge. But I think definitely our young people, they have to know where we are coming from so that they can know where to go, okay? And our elders that they fought for independence also, they have to understand the new generation.
All right.
Yeah.
And you know, the steps taken by the government to overhaul the political landscape and accommodate further, opposition demands to be represented and addressed. You've talked about it, a law being passed in Parliament to have a peace talk, between the government in place and the opposition. Do you think, as we speak right now, Mozambique is in a situation to have more like a coalition government?
No, there is a government already there. The government is there. Frelimo won the election, okay? The candidate that now is the president of the republic won the election. We had the candidate on the 15th of January 2025. The president was sworn. He's the president who's sitting down with the opposition leaders, including the former candidate, independent candidate, Mr. Venancio Mondlane. He has sat down with him also. So now there is this memorandum of understanding that now became a law for this nationally inclusive dialogue that is been launched. So maybe what we can argue here, how are we going to organize all this dialogue? The country is big. We have 32 million people, 800,000 square kilometers, okay? So it means that we need to organize ourselves, structure ourselves so that everybody can feel part of this dialogue. We're talking about the youth, we're talking about the women, we're talking about the other leaders, that they have to be part of this dialogue.
And as the government brings in the young generation to be part of the government, the concern of the young people is the high rate of unemployment and the big gap between the rich and the poor. How will the government of the day handle this?
As I said, he has been there. He'll be completing his 100 days on the 27th of April. But even so, he designed the plan, they call it 100 days plan, just with the projects, small projects and actions that will have an impact in these 100 days, especially for the youth, but all Mozambicans. So now we are waiting now for the plan for the year, for 2025, but also to be approved by the Parliament, but also for the program and plan for the 2025-2029. They are trying to design or to identify priorities of the priorities, because we have a lot of priorities because of the situation that we are living in the country. But we have to decide which ones, 4, 5, so that we can try to implement them. It has impact, especially for creation of jobs.
All right.
Yeah.
And the volatile regions like Cabo Delgado was also a region where every politician who was campaigning for the presidential election talked about in terms of how they will handle, the security situation in that region. So what gains has the government made so far to address this challenge of Cabo Delgado?
Yeah, Cabo Delgado it's a challenge. It has been a challenge for the government because, as you know, we discovered a huge amount of gas. But Cabo Delgado is not only rich on gas, it is rich on other minerals. Right? So After that discovery, we realized that we had a challenge, another challenge. That's really a critical challenge, terrorism. We think we want to use this platform and thank the international community, but especially SADC. The force, they're called Samim, but also Rwanda. Samim has left. We still have Rwanda, but also Tanzania on a bilateral basis. The government created what we call agency for the development of the northern part of Mozambique, so that they can combine military but also development. So this agency now is mobilized, is working with the partners, mobilize the funds, trying to really create jobs for the Mozambicans, especially for the youth. Why? Because if they don't have that job, poverty, they've been used, they've been recruited. So that's why we have to create jobs for
All right, and finally, as you wind up this conversation, talk to us about the financial aid cuts that were put in place by President Donald Trump's administration, how it has affected Mozambique, and what plans the Mozambican government has put in place as you wind up.
Yes, there is a lot of decisions that have been taken for the government of U.S. That one of them is the issue of the aid to our countries, especially because most of these aids, it's really supported our health sector. We recognize that it was very important, or it is important, because it saved the lives, especially even for humanitarian when you talk about the Cabo Delgado. But we have to understand, it's what the president normally says, that we have to organize ourselves as a country, but also as a region or the continent, so that we can take care of our own people and our own issues. So it is a wake-up call. Yeah, it's a wake-up call that we have to stand and do something for our people. Save the life. We agree that this aid really supported us, but now also we have to find a way internally and regionally and the continent, as a continent of Africa, to help our people.
All right, Maria Manuela Lucas, Foreign Affairs Minister of Mozambique, thank you for talking to TRT One-on-One.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity and the honor. Thank you.